Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. When I first dug into the source material for this topic, it hit me that we are right in the middle of a massive macro-level shift. This is actively transforming the very foundation of how we uncover new knowledge. Today, we're talking about the absolute power of computational discovery across so many different fields, whether it's genomics, biopharma, or even just your everyday academic literature review. Artificial intelligence and machine learning are pushing science forward at a speed we literally have never seen before. It is fundamentally changing how we interact with information. To really grasp why this is happening right now, we have to talk about the sheer scale of the data avalanche we're caught in. Just think about this for a second. In genomics alone, it's estimated that within the next decade, research is going to generate somewhere between 2 and 40 exabytes of data. DNA sequencing and modern biological techniques are just churning out this extraordinary trove of complex information, and honestly, there is simply too much data for the human mind to manually process. And it's not just raw data coming out of a lab either. It's the scientific literature itself. Researchers are basically drowning in a sea of publications. It is so incredibly easy to get completely buried under thousands of PDFs and abstracts. But with computational tools, researchers can now screen 1,000 papers in just 5 minutes, instantly zeroing in on the 20 that actually matter. Without these new tools, traditional research workflows are just fundamentally broken by the volume of information. Which brings us to the really critical question we have to tackle today. How do we actually find meaning in all this data? The old-school methods of manual sorting and traditional search engines simply cannot keep up anymore. We desperately need machines to step in, not to replace scientists, but to help them actually conquer this massive information overload. Section 1, Unlocking Hidden Patterns. Okay, let's dive into this and see how these computational technologies actually learn. What really fascinated me in the research is that when we talk about AI and modern discovery, for the most part, we're talking about deep learning. Unlike supervised learning, where humans sort of hold the machine's hand by giving it labeled training data, these algorithms operate totally on their own. They take these massive data sets and recognize patterns using artificial neural networks. These are computing systems inspired by our own nervous system. They simulate the brain's ability to weigh the importance of different data points and spot hidden correlations, entirely without explicit human programming. And the secret weapon making all of this possible? It's something called embeddings. Basically, embeddings are dense numerical representations. You can think of it like taking a really complex relationship, say the meaning of specific words, or even the structure of molecules, and mapping it into a giant multidimensional mathematical space. So instead of the machine just seeing a string of letters, it sees a super detailed mathematical coordinate that captures the deep semantic and syntactic context of the data. Early groundbreaking models like Word2Vec completely revolutionized this space. By analyzing huge amounts of text, Word2Vec mapped words into a 300-dimensional space. And by doing that, it proved that algorithms could capture incredibly precise syntactic and semantic relationships. It could answer word analogy questions with astonishing accuracy. It allowed the machine to discover hidden patterns simply by measuring the mathematical distance between these vector representations. Section 2, Accelerating Biopharma and Genomics. So, now that we have a handle on the underlying tech, let's look at the massive real-world wins this is unlocking in healthcare. In the biopharma industry, AI is completely revamping the R&D pipeline. You have these multidisciplinary teams of computational and scientific experts teaming up to apply AI directly to target prediction, lead design, and biomarker identification. Instead of relying purely on physical trial and error, scientists can now simulate experiments in silico, meaning they do it entirely on a computer. This lets them discover new links between genes and diseases, or even figure out how to repurpose existing drugs way before anything ever hits a petri dish. But we have to remember that these digital algorithms are still deeply tied back to the physical lab. To build these powerful predictive models, companies need vast amounts of really high-quality data. We're talking about integrating actual human data from global biobanks, electronic medical records, and detailed lab notes. The algorithms are brilliantly smart, sure, but they are absolutely only as good as the physical, real-world biological data they're trained on. And when you combine that high-quality lab data with computational discovery, the results are staggering. Industry analysis shows that by using intelligent technologies at scale and reinventing these workflows, companies can bring a new medicine to market 4 years faster. Think about that. That is 4 years of accelerated access to life-saving treatments for patients who desperately need them. Plus, this incredible speed and the significantly reduced rate of failure translates into some massive economic benefits. An AI-led discovery strategy can actually cut discovery cycle times by 2/3. That kind of efficiency means companies can earn an estimated extra $2 billion per successful drug. And honestly, this huge financial incentive is exactly why harnessing these technologies is currently the #1 priority for biopharma CEOs.
Section 3. Automating the research workflow. Let's shift gears and see how this builds into the everyday life of a researcher. Because computational discovery isn't just for billion-dollar pharmaceutical labs. If you have ever had to do a literature review, you know the traditional way is completely exhausting. You start on a platform like Google Scholar, do a manual search, and boom, you are immediately buried in thousands of PDFs, probably reconsidering all your life choices up to that point. But today, AI-powered tools are a real game changer. Tools like Semantic Scholar use AI to instantly surface high-quality, relevant papers. Platforms like Consensus act as AI search engines that pull evidence-based answers strictly from peer-reviewed studies. You can literally just chat with it in natural language, ask a direct question, and it synthesizes the consensus of the whole scientific community in seconds. The workflow efficiency gains we're seeing here are staggering. Studies evaluating these commercial AI tools show they can lead to a 50% reduction in the time it takes just to select relevant abstracts. Even better, they can drive a 70 to 80% reduction in data extraction time. Some tools essentially act as a highly trained second reviewer, working right alongside the human scientist, and they've demonstrated a near 10-fold lower false negative rate compared to the old traditional methods. It really is a complete paradigm shift in how we analyze scholarly data.
Section 4. Ethical guardrails of AI. Now, with all this incredible speed and power, we definitely need to pump the brakes for a quick reality check. Because wielding computational discovery effectively means you have to know its limits. Scholars generally point out 4 main risks to watch out for when you're relying on these massive models. First up is plagiarism, where the AI might just echo existing literature a little too closely. Second is hallucinations. These models can sometimes generate highly convincing but entirely fabricated text or citations. Third is bias. AI outputs can unintentionally mirror historical prejudices that were baked into their training data. And finally, there's the very real risk of eroding our own independent scholarly skills if we lean on these tools a bit too heavily instead of doing our own critical thinking. But navigating these risks isn't about avoiding the technology altogether. It's really just about establishing some solid ground rules. Transparency is key. It's basically standard practice now to just disclose when you've used AI tools. Verification is also non-negotiable. You still have to rigorously fact-check everything and verify the citations it gives you. The healthiest way to look at it is that AI is an incredibly capable co-pilot, but it is definitely not an autopilot. It is there to support your research journey, not grab the steering wheel completely. So the crucial point here is captured perfectly in this perspective on academic ethics. AI is not an author. Human researchers remain fully responsible for their work. AI should be used as a support tool, not as a substitute for original thinking. Human oversight, our intuition, our critical thinking, those are the true keys to making sure this technology actually advances our knowledge instead of undermining it. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative thought to chew on the next time you sit down to research or write. Ask yourself, are the ideas presented truly my own? And moving forward, how will you consciously and effectively use AI in your own learning journey? The power of computational discovery is already here, and it's up to us to wield it responsibly. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and keep exploring.